Clive in Fife. Clive, your reaction to that news. Good morning.
Hi, Nick.
Hello, sir.
I think it's frankly hilarious
What,
that we're going to have a slim-down monarchy
what is
or a
hilarious about it?
slim-down coronation.
Right.
But what's hilarious about it, in my opinion, and in the opinion of most of the people in Scotland, I would say, is the fact that we've still got a royal family in the
Why?
year 2022.
Right.
Because we have no place in a modern civilised society where you're afforded massive... Let me
excuse
finish.
me, sir. Well, no,
Finish.
because you started by saying you speak for most of the people of Scotland. I need you to back that up somehow.
Yeah, well, I'm a working-class Scotsman.
Right.
Everybody I know in Scotland...
Okay. So for everyone you know...
Dies.
Okay, now hold on, sir. So let's just clarify. You speak on behalf of most of the people you know, not most of Scotland. So on you go.
Yeah. The majority of people I know couldn't care less if the monarchy existed or didn't exist.
Okay.
I think the fact that we're talking about having a slimmed-down monarchy, are we meant to be happy about this, Nick? You know, when people can't heat their houses, people are sending their kids to school hungry, you know?
I don't think you would be...
It makes my blood boil, Nick.
Okay.
When you hear people like yourself bullying Meghan Markle, that's what you're doing because she's a black woman or mixed race.
Wow. How did you get...
Make me sick, man.
How did you get from a conversation about a possible slimmed-down coronation to your suggestion that I've been bullying Meghan Markle? How did you get to that?
Right-wing gammon media personalities have been bullying Meghan Markle since the word go. Look at it during the Queen's period of mourning. Every time she held Harry's hands, Jesus, man, it was unbelievable.
What did I say?
Remind
me, excuse me, that's quite a serious... Can you tell me what I said every time?
Nothing positive to say about her or Harry.
What did I say, Nick? Well, anyway, we're going off the point. Okay, so you don't want a royal family, clearly.
No.
What will you replace?
French.
Okay, would you listen? What would you replace it with?
I'd replace it with an elected House of Lords.
An elected House of Lords?
An elected House of Lords. We don't need an elected head of state in 2022. We are quite capable of making our own decisions, the people of the UK. And
I would imagine you're probably not a fully signed-up fan of Boris Johnson or Theresa May or David Cameron. And that's when this nation has made its decisions. They should be in jail, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
For what they've done to this country. Brexit's ruined the country. It's lit.
But hold on. That was the people making its decision. And so that was a decision they made that you didn't like.
No, they were the people that were pushing the right-wing agenda.
No, you can't. No, you are so fundamentally wrong on every level.
No,
because you want the people.
I think you're wrong on every level.
Well, okay.
Wrong on every level.
Currently, it's the Nick Ferrari breakfast show. When it's Clive's show, it'll be different. But you want better democracy, and yet every time it goes again, the people are wrong. The people were wrong about Brexit. The people were wrong about Boris Johnson. The people were wrong about Theresa May. And I would imagine the last time there was a referendum in Scotland,
Look who we've got now.
I would imagine. Okay, so they were wrong again. Yes, absolutely.
Who elected her?
And I would imagine
2% of the UK population.
I would imagine your fellow Scots got it wrong when you voted for the referendum those years ago. They got it wrong, didn't they?
They did completely.
There you go.
And
there we go. So democracy. I tell you what,
independent country.
I'm so pleased.
It'll be an independent republic.
I wonder if you'd listen to
a royal family, Nick.
I wonder if you'd listen to a fellow person from Fife, Beatrice. Beatrice, what would you like to say to Clive, who's in the same city?
Well, I think he's talking absolute nonsense. People who are in Scotland, most of the people who I see are in favour of the royal family. And, I mean, what happened in the last 10 days was absolutely wonderful. And we would never
let's be discourteous.
see that... unless it came up to Scotland, and I certainly am a royalist.
Okay, let's get Clive back into the conversation. Clive,
what was wonderful about it?
Beatrice, what was wonderful?
It was the history, the fact that everybody was all nice to one another for a change, and not like yourself. You sound quite grumpy. It's and
here we have the typical unionist in Scotland. Whenever something comes up that they don't like, they get personal. The typical unionist in Scotland.
You don't think you were getting personal about media coverage, me and others, every time we mentioned.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right.
Right, so you're allowed to get personal.
And Fife is not a city. Fife is a county.
My apologies, a town. Go ahead. Beatrice.
I'm not getting personal. You're just making everybody in Scotland, and so is everybody else, about the fact I don't like SNP. I can't stand them.
I don't like SNP either. I don't vote SNP. I don't like the SNP. I don't vote SNP, but I'm desperate for Scottish independence. So we can chart our own course in the world and nobody tied to the sinking ship that's the UK.
I unfortunately went and voted for independence, but I would not vote for independence now.
And why might I ask, Madam, has your vote changed? Would your vote change?
Well, I don't like the way things are going. I don't like the way Nicola Sturgeon's going. Right. And I mean, in Edinburgh, they've made one hell of a mess in Edinburgh.
Let me bring Clive. Beatrice.
Edinburgh is a Labour-run council. Edinburgh is a Labour-run council.
Before.
Yeah, but now it's Labour.
Clive, could I ask
Labour brought about the bin strikes.
Could I ask?
To be honest, at least.
Could I ask you your view of Nicola Sturgeon, Clive?
I don't like her. I think she's a lying traitor.
Okay.
I'll never vote for her again.
Okay, I think we can just about allow that. So might I ask, what do you see, who would you want to run in independent Scotland then?
I would have an elected person, elected government, just the way we've got an elected government just now, Nick. It seems to work very well. We've got to have the state.
Sorry, where does it work very well? Where does it work very well?
In Scotland. Scottish government's doing a great job running Scotland.
Oh, let's bring Beatrice in. The Scottish government is doing a great job, Beatrice, of running Scotland?
No, I don't think they are. I don't think none of them are in Britain at all.
Right. I mean, all I know is from where I'm...
Based on what, Beatrice?
But let me... Clive, what was once the envy of the world, the Scottish education system is now, unfortunately...
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, I'm glad you laugh. Probably you don't have children at school, I don't know, or grandchildren, I've absolutely no idea.
I'll tell you about my children.
Hopefully you won't laugh when I remind you that the death rate in Glasgow, the age of mortality in Glasgow is worse than some African nations. I hope you're not going to laugh there because of the provision of healthcare.
Oh, at least you didn't laugh. That's down to poverty and endemic drug use because of poverty.
Well, what is the Scottish government?
Thatcher destroying industry in Scotland.
Oh my goodness, we're going back to Margaret Thatcher as to blame.
See if you actually look at the research, Nick. It's an endemic problem stemming from the last 20, 30 years.
Okay.
Drug use.
Okay, all right.
And poverty. And the only way Scotland can do anything about it is by having levers, control of all the financial levers. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll swap you the block grant and the Barnett formula for full fiscal autonomy over everything that's generated in Scotland and see who's worse off.
Lastly, can I ask you your overview of the last 13 days that we've seen the Queen die, the body, the funeral, the global reaction? What has your response been to it all? And please don't say anything offensive.
I've been working, Nick. I have to work for a living. Okay. I don't have time to watch the TV.
Okay. All right.
But to me, I just wouldn't have a monarchy at all.
Okay, sir. I'm very grateful. Thank you to you, Clive. Beatrice, thank you as well. Fascinating. We had two people in the same town of Fife able to talk.
Ever thrown a boomerang of words? Radio host Nick Ferrari did just that during a heated LBC segment, where a caller accused him and fellow media personalities of systematically bullying Meghan Markle. It's fascinating how quickly the tables can turn when someone challenges the narrative, isn't it? Ferrari, known for his sharp-tongued commentary, found himself on the defensive, spinning through the airwaves much like that curved piece of wood that always returns to its sender. The caller's accusation wasn't just a random jab, it was a direct challenge to the media's ongoing narrative about the Duchess, suggesting that what goes around in the court of public opinion often comes right back around. Ferrari's response? Classic Ferrari, defensive, passionate, yet seemingly unaware of how his own words might be perceived as part of the very bullying cycle he was denying. It's almost like watching karma prepare its boomerang, ready to demonstrate how easily criticism can become the very thing one claims to be opposing. Karma comes calling, the media's Meghan Markle dilemma. Just when you thought the narrative couldn't get more complicated, along came a caller on LBC who decided to throw some serious shade at Nick Ferrari and the media pack. Picture this, a passionate listener, fed up with what they perceived as relentless media harassment, boldly claimed that Ferrari and his cohorts were engaging in a full-blown bullying campaign against Meghan Markle. It wasn't just criticism, they argued, but a systematic, calculated effort to tear down the Duchess, painting her as some sort of villain in a never-ending royal soap opera. The caller's accusations were sharp, suggesting that the criticism had long since crossed the line from legitimate journalism into personal vendetta territory, echoing our earlier exploration of how negativity can spiral and boomerang back in unexpected ways. And isn't that just the universe's way of keeping things interesting? One moment you're dishing out commentary, the next you're being called out for your own behavior. Karma's digital playground, when critics defend their corner. Ever thrown a criticism into the digital universe? Well, Nick Ferrari sure has, and he's not backing down. When confronted about his seemingly relentless commentary on Meghan Markle, Ferrari doubles down with the confidence of a seasoned radio host who knows exactly which buttons to push. It's not bullying, he argues. It's critique, pure and simple. Just like a boomerang of words, he returns fire with precision, insisting his commentary stems from her actions, not personal vendetta. His defense? A classic move in the internet's court of public opinion, separating the person from their choices, drawing that razor-thin line between brutal honesty and malicious intent. Ferrari represents that breed of commentator who believes transparency trumps politeness, that public figures should expect and endure scrutiny. Whether you see him as a truth-teller or a provocateur probably depends on which side of the digital fence you're sitting on. But one thing's certain, in the world of media karma, Ferrari's not planning on changing his tune anytime soon. Media madness, the endless Meghan Markle coverage debate. Ever thrown a boomerang of media criticism? It's almost like the press has turned Meghan Markle into their personal target practice, spinning narratives that loop and curve with a wild intensity. Just like our earlier exploration of online negativity, this media circus feels eerily familiar, a relentless bombardment of opinions that slice through the air, creating a whirlwind of speculation and judgment. When a passionate caller rang into Nick Ferrari's show, accusing the media of systematic bullying, the air crackled with that same karmic energy we discussed earlier. Ferrari, true to his style, wasn't about to let this claim slide unchallenged. He pushed back, arguing that the coverage has been nuanced, not a one-sided attack, but a complex tapestry of both positive and negative perspectives. It's almost like watching a verbal boomerang in action, each perspective spinning out and potentially returning to strike its originator, reminding us that in the world of media and public opinion, what goes around truly does come around. The boomerang of bias. When words reveal more than intended. Ever thrown an accusation that lands differently than you expected? That's exactly what happened when a caller dialed into Nick Ferrari's show, dropping the R word that makes everybody squirm: racism. Just like our friend Albie, Ferrari found himself in the hot seat, being called out for something far more complex than a simple disagreement. The caller wasn't just throwing shade, they were suggesting something deeper, that Meghan Markle's treatment wasn't just criticism, but something more insidious. Ferrari, quick as always, denied any racial bias in his coverage. But here's the thing about boomerangs. Sometimes they reveal more about the thrower than the target. Was it a knee-jerk defense or a genuine reflection? The internet, that great universal karma machine, was definitely taking notes. One thing's for certain, when conversations about race get uncomfortable, that's usually when they need to happen most. Karma has a way of making sure we don't just talk past each other, but actually listen. The royal drama unraveling the Oprah interview controversy. Ever thrown a bombshell interview into the royal landscape? It's kind of like dropping a grenade into a perfectly manicured garden party. The Oprah interview with Meghan and Harry was exactly that. A moment that sent shockwaves through the pristine corridors of Windsor, wasn't it? The caller on LBC believed the interview exposed some seriously dirty laundry within the royal family. Those deep-seated issues that had been quietly simmering behind palace walls suddenly burst into the open. Ferrari, with his trademark no-nonsense approach, wasn't buying the whole narrative, questioning every single detail with that sharp journalistic skepticism he's known for. Was it really a genuine exposé or just another calculated media performance? The motivations behind the interview became as tangled as the royal family's intricate relationships. Each statement, each revelation felt like a carefully choreographed dance of drama and disclosure. The caller saw it as truth-telling. Ferrari saw it as potential manipulation. And just like that, another chapter in the ongoing royal saga unfolded live on national radio. The universe loves its drama, doesn't it? The Meghan media. Maelstrom. When perception meets reality, you know how the internet loves a good narrative? Well, Meghan Markle's public image is like a boomerang spinning wildly through the media landscape. Unpredictable, controversial, and always coming back to hit someone unexpectedly. While some folks cry foul, claiming she's been unfairly bullied, the reality isn't quite so black and white. Her own actions have thrown fuel on the media bonfire, creating a perfect storm of public scrutiny. Every interview, every revelation, every dramatic royal departure has been like throwing a match into a powder keg of public opinion. It's almost as if she's inadvertently become the architect of her own media perception, constructing a narrative that oscillates between victim and provocateur. The line between genuine criticism and unfair attack. Blurry at best, with Meghan dancing right on that razor's edge, sometimes inviting the very attention she claims to despise. Karma, it seems, has a sense of humor when it comes to public figures who play the media game. Karma, media, and the court of public opinion. Ever been in one of those radio moments where sparks just fly? Picture this. An LBC studio, Nick Ferrari sitting there, cool as a cucumber, when suddenly a caller decides to launch into Meghan Markle like she's some media mastermind manipulating every headline. You can almost feel the tension crackling through the airwaves. But Ferrari, he's not having any of it. With that trademark directness, he cuts through the noise, defending Meghan's right to tell her own story. It's not about bullying or taking sides. It's about giving someone the basic human dignity to control their narrative. The caller's trying to paint her as some calculated media puppet. But Ferrari sees through that. He understands that in a world of constant scrutiny, everyone deserves a chance to speak their truth, without being torn apart. Karma, it seems, has a way of teaching lessons about respect, even in the most unexpected places. Like a heated radio debate where words can slice deeper than any boomerang. The media's delicate dance accountability versus compassion. Just like our previous exploration of online negativity, the media's role in public discourse presents a fascinating tightrope walk between critical reporting and unwarranted personal attacks. When our LBC caller passionately argued that the media should be more supportive of Meghan Markle, Nick Ferrari's response cut straight to the heart of journalistic purpose. Accountability isn't bullying, it's a fundamental duty. The media, Ferrari would argue, isn't meant to be a cheerleading squad, but a watchdog that holds public figures to scrutiny, ensuring transparency and maintaining public trust. Yet there's a crucial distinction between legitimate critique and gratuitous criticism. A nuanced line that demands careful navigation. Just as we discussed the boomerang effect of negativity, media professionals must recognize that their words carry weight, potentially shaping public perception and impacting real human lives. The challenge lies not in silencing critique, but in delivering it with fairness, respect, and a fundamental understanding of human dignity. The power of dialogue. Navigating heated media discussions. Ever thrown a conversational boomerang that comes spinning right back at you? That's the thing about public discourse. It's a delicate dance of perspectives, emotions, and respect. Nick Ferrari's encounter with the LBC caller perfectly illustrates how quickly discussions can escalate from reasoned debate to perceived bullying. The caller's passionate accusation highlights a crucial point. In our media landscape, there's a razor-thin line between critique and cruelty. Ferrari, known for his direct style, found himself at the center of a nuanced conversation about media responsibility and the way we discuss public figures. It's not just about what we say, but how we say it. A universal truth that rings especially loud in the echo chambers of talk radio and media commentary. The exchange becomes a microcosm of our broader societal challenge. How do we engage in meaningful dialogue about complex issues without descending into personal attacks or inflammatory rhetoric?